How to invest into DeepSeek OpenAI? Well, you can't. You cannot invest into the viral AI platform DeepSeek because they are not currently public. And honestly, it might be quite some time before they decide to go public. The only way to somewhat invest into DeepSeek tech is to invest into a company that is already using its AI model, and that is through a company called Merit Interactive, which is a Chinese-based company. I found them on, I believe they're on the platform Moomoo, and they're on the Chinese platform Weibo. But I wanted to put that into the very first 10 seconds of this video so that everybody is on the same page, and as we move forward, talking about why everyone and what everyone else is investing in, since DeepSeek is still very much an independent project with one man putting his own money up to fund that platform. That one man's name is Liang Wenfeng, okay? And he's an engineer over in China who started this venture by dumping about, I don't know, $6 million, I believe, into this project from his hedge fund that he co-founded back in the 2010s. And now let me share something with you all that sort of goes against the use case functionality of the DeepSeek platform. And this is a little bit contrary to what everyone else has been saying about DeepSeek being so valuable in terms of challenging the open AI market.
We've already ran a whole suite of benchmarks against it, tried out a bunch of things, and I'd say we're pretty familiar with it. I think it's impressive in a number of ways. It's impressive how much power you get for the cost. I think the flip side is it's actually not quite something that we could even consider implementing into our process. And I think there's a lot of clients that'll reach the same conclusion after they start working with it.
Why is that?
So a lot of how we help our clients is with things like trying to identify risk and trying to identify, sort of build up these different workflows for different parts of the financial process. And a really big part of that is related to trust. You need to be able to give answers that you're very confident in. You need to give answers that you can sort of deeply intuit where it's coming from. And I think one of the challenges of this model is that it has some very clear political biases right off the bat.
Yep.
So if I'm trying to use it to say, understand what my portfolio exposure is to China, it's going to be a challenge to use it for things like that. Also, a lot of the things we're most excited about are things like being able to do computer use, being able to sort of teach the machine how to like interact with different apps and things on the computer, image recognition, trying to extract out charts and things like that. And a lot of those kind of capabilities that actually doesn't seem to be as sophisticated in. So it can do very well in certain benchmarks, but when it actually comes to trying to apply it for at least most of the use cases that we're doing, it's not quite there yet.
What is there for you right now? Like, what does work?
I think the most interesting thing for me is actually on the reasoning side. So of course, like one of the really big pushes OpenAI's had right now is like with O1 and O3. You've got these models coming in where in theory, they can take a task, break it into subcomponents, and then start executing on those components. And I think in that area, it's actually quite good. I also think, just from a cost basis, it's extremely impressive what they've been able to do. There's been some controversy about exactly how much it costs to actually train the model. What I can confirm, though, is the actual inference cost, the cost of running the model, is extremely cheap compared to what you're getting with like O1 and O3. And so just the fact it's even possible to do that is a major technology breakthrough.
If nothing else, does DeepSeek just highlight the cost issue and potentially the movement down in costs of implementing AI?
Yeah, the way I like to think about it is the cheaper it is to train these AI systems, then the more advanced capabilities you can train. The more advanced capabilities you can train, the more use cases you unlock, the more use cases unlock, the more you actually see it accelerate. So I actually think this model will probably cause an acceleration in the capabilities of other models that are being built as more folks start to adopt it. So for me, I actually see it as completely positive.
All right, so that was the Boosted AI CEO speaking on DeepSeek and its use case as far as functionality goes in OpenAI. So while it's being reported by multiple people who are smarter than me in the area of technology that this OpenAI program, DeepSeek, is already rivaling Meta's ChatGPT platform and others, there are some companies in the AI market saying, wait a minute, it's good, but it's not that good yet, right? But I think the more important and impressive feat that DeepSeek was able to sort of highlight is the fact that it was created and implemented with just a fraction of the cost that it took for a company like Meta to do it, right? So for those wondering why this is such a big deal and why NVIDIA and platforms like Meta and a lot of the other stocks attached to the semiconductor market lost billions of dollars in the market in a matter of hours, DeepSeek is why, okay? It is now a direct competitor not only to the open AI market, but that essentially means that it is also a direct competitor to every company that depends heavily on semiconductor production and performance to move semiconductor products, right? NVIDIA and Meta and even Tesla to some degree, AMD, off the top of my head, are companies that are directly impacted and affected by DeepSeek. And so, they're saying, hey, we got a company over here. I can give the world the same and possibly even better results, given it even just a little more funding, using a fraction of the production costs and supplies that you all are using over there that is costing you millions upon millions of dollars to get the same results. And so we're cutting costs, which is a huge part of this, right? It's basically the threat to companies like, Meta with ChatGPT. And so what's happening is that DeepSeek is causing investors to ask the very grounded question of, did we ever really need to pump all of this capital into high performance chips and into the semiconductor market when it appears as though the same or at the very least a similar outcome could have been achieved with far less tax dollars? So that is why you saw that huge drop off in NVIDIA the other day. And since it has rebounded, I read that they were able to gain back at least around $5 billion worth of what they lost in the market. So, it has rebounded and really goes back to that old adage that a rising tide lifts all boats, right? And so DeepSeek is definitely a rising tide. And because people cannot directly invest into it right now, they're looking for other ways to invest into it. And they're saying that, hey, well, we understand that if the semiconductor market rises with DeepSeek, and if that platform ever goes public, it is going to explode out the gate. Whenever they decide to go public, it is going to explode out the gate. Now, how do I feel about, DeepSeek as it is a Chinese company? Well, you all know, for those of you who have watched me and been paying attention, I am not a fan of Chinese stocks. I'm just not. Tencent, Alibaba, all the Chinese, all the Taiwan, all the other stocks that are in the market that are related to and attached to the Chinese market, I'm just not a fan of, because I recognize that they fly by a different set of rules over there. And China is a country that is a lot more strict than we are over here in the US, which means the regulatory affairs and the things like that, they can come in and basically tell you to sit down, shut up over there, and you got to do it. Until you act right, they don't play around over it. Listen, the stuff that we get away with over here in the American market, especially CEOs and companies of that, you would never get away with it over there in China. Y'all remember for a while, the Alibaba CEO disappeared. They didn't know where he was. They was looking for him, couldn't find him. That's because they told him to go sit down somewhere. Yo, hey, chill out. Go sit down. You can come back when you get off punishment. That's how they roll over there. I don't know if it was Alibaba or was it Tencent. Either or, it was one of the CEOs of a billion-dollar industry over there just up and disappeared for a while. And it was a long time. It wasn't a short amount of time. So they play by a different set of rules over there. Over there, you either get down or lay down. They not fucking around with you over there in China. So they run by a different set of rules, which is why I believe that their companies can, they can shift and they can change up their rules just like that. And all of a sudden the stock will be affected. Just take a look at Alibaba, where it once was, at a price point valuation of $300 per share, and look at where it is now. It still hasn't fully rebounded. It hasn't even come close to rebounding to what it was at the height of its valuation in the market. So that is my take on it. I do not really trust Chinese stocks. I do think that this is very interesting, and going forward, it is interesting to see how this affects NVidia, companies like NVidia, and how it's going to play out in the U.S. stock market, and what people will do as far as when it is readily made available to IPO on the stock market. We'll just have to see how it goes. As for me, it's not a dividend. Even the stock that I gave you all at the beginning of this video, that is not a dividend paying stock at all. So I have no interest in it right now. I would just continue to invest into, the S&P 500. You all know that I am investing into the tech ETF as well. There's QQQ that you can invest in, and there's also SPYI that you can invest in. Both of those are ETFs that revolve heavily around tech. So if you want to just take a, more of a hands-off approach and invest in tech still, those are your ways to go. But listen, let me know what you all think down in the comments, and we're going to end this video. Get up out here. Remember to always invest diligently, but more importantly, invest responsibly, and we'll see you in the next one. Later.